In a recent video shot from the back door of the Montecito mansion, Prince Harry presented the Soldier of the Year award to Elizabeth Marks. Is this another ridiculous PR stunt, or is there another conspiracy? Besides, Harry was worried about his position in the royal family after William's children. A fit of jealousy couldn't be worse. Let me break it down for you more, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Queen. So during this special presentation, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and Hypocrisy and Lies paid tribute to his friend Sergeant First Class Elizabeth Marks. She's a 33-year-old athlete, and she won gold medals at Invictus 4 separate times and also Paralympic medals 5 times. In 2010, she went through some bilateral hip injuries while she was deployed in Iraq. She joined the army when she was only 17 years old. During the speech, Harry stood tall wearing a red tie, a black vest, and his medals, and he said, speaking on the video, he told the crowd, "I first met Sergeant First Class Elizabeth Marks at the Invictus Games in Orlando 2016, where I presented her with not 1 but 4 gold medals that she'd won in swimming." Elizabeth Marks has courageously overcome every obstacle to cross her path. She has turned her pain into purpose and led through compassion and willpower, showing others that the impossible is possible. Despite the injuries she endured during her deployment as a medical assistant in Iraq and numerous surgeries and setbacks that would have deterred many, she has persevered tirelessly, becoming the first woman in the Army's world-class athlete program and the first swimmer the program has ever seen. She's also taken her recovery a step further, using her experiences and achievements to inspire and assist others in their mental and physical journey into the sport, ensuring those who can't see a way out or through are introduced to the medicine of sport that saved her too. So Harry also mentioned that he first met Sergeant Elizabeth Marks at the Invictus Games in Orlando in 2016, and now he's honored to call her his friend. Okay then, interesting. In the video, I also couldn't help but notice that Harry proudly pinned the Operational Service Medal for Afghanistan that he received in 2008 to his chest during this little presentation. And beside it, we see the Queen's Golden Jubilee Medal awarded in 2002 to people who have served in the military for 5 years. And then there was the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal too. Now it was awarded to members of the emergency services, the armed forces, the prison service, and the royal family in 2012. And then, of course, he also had to wear the Queen's Platinum Jubilee Medal in spite of the fact that he gave up his honorary military titles in 2020. And I had to laugh because Harry is all excited to wear the medal that his grandmother gifted him. He didn't do anything to deserve those medals, unlike the other people they were given to. So embarrassing that he thinks he has the right to represent U.S. soldiers. Harry, take your Invictus Games and just shove off. The U.S. has its own Warrior Games anyway. He's such a grifter. And what about the other soldiers who were serving alongside Harry? They've got a different story to tell. They said Harry's service consisted of playing video games in a bunker, while the brave men and women fought around him. So why would some lazy person like him dare give out medals to actual hardworking people such as Elizabeth Marks? Or let's dig a little bit deeper. Let's talk about the medals a little bit more, and we can see that Harry has not added the medal that he should have gotten for attending his father's coronation. So, of course, now we gotta wonder, did he even get one? Or he doesn't like it maybe? Did Meghan tell him he wasn't allowed to wear it because 5 medals would raise some eyebrows, and since he hasn't actually been active in the military? People may not realize it, but those Jubilee medals don't mean a thing if no 5th medal is there. Well, I would guess he probably left before they handed out the medals. Or maybe his is stored in the storage closet at Buckingham Palace. Maybe when they can guarantee that he's going to be safe in Britain, he can finally come back and pick it up. Now, medals do mean something to people who get them for actual real service. I mean, I'm not trying to suggest otherwise. But Harry only gets his medals because he's a prince when he comes to an event. This is the truth. Harry wore the same set of medals that he wore during his grandmother, the late Queen's funeral services. Now, as I understand it, one's medals are all put on a firm cloth together, and that's what one actually attaches to the clothing. I don't believe he ever got the coronation medal, though. So why? Is it because the palace had always done this for him and he just didn't think about wearing it? Or maybe it was also last minute, he didn't have time to get it done? So Harry has only one military medal, and that was given to him by the late Queen. The other medals are basically participation trophies. They are Jubilee medals, and he's not the only person who has them. I suspect Harry's military medal is a big slap in the face to the real soldiers, people who had to risk their lives and health, because Harry was sitting in the bunker playing video games. Seriously though, other than Invictus, what is Harry's connection to the US military anyway? He's a foreign prince. This is nothing but PR, and basically exploiting American veterans to do it. I can immediately think of at least 10 people who are more deserving to present a medal than Harry. And I don't even think it has anything to do with Invictus. The award is associated with a news organization aimed at US military personnel. Harry has been kicked out of his own country's military, so I guess he has to mooch off the US in whatever way he can. Now, I think it was a special medal that Harry, or probably Meghan, just made up. There doesn't seem to be any real connection to the US military. It's pathetic. So not only do Harry and Meghan pick up fake trophies for themselves, now he's giving out fake medals. I guess Meghan wanted him to feel special. Please tell me, though, why is a foreign prince who never served in the US military handing out a Soldier of the Year award? Shouldn't that honor go to somebody who's actually an American veteran? I find it appalling. And why not give it out at the actual games, or at least at an official event? And I also thought that medals were supposed to go with a uniform. I thought wearing medals like Harry did is completely inappropriate. There are also UK medals, which he's trying to wear like he's official somehow in the US. If Harry wanted to feel important and do some kind of official business with the military, then he should have stayed in the royal family. Now he's in the US, it doesn't make any sense. It's pitiful. US soldiers do not need Harry. They don't need his help. They don't need his made-up medals. The US military is not Harry's playground. He has no official role in the US. He's just a phony soldier wearing phony medals, giving out a fake award to a real soldier. It's insulting. These things make me believe that Harry never really was involved in the war. If Harry really wanted to do something meaningful for the military, he could talk about the soldiers that he knew who passed away. It was a war. There were plenty of soldiers who lost their lives, but he doesn't talk about them. He just spent his whole time playing video games in a bunker. It is absurd, isn't it? But it also shows how Harry and Meghan are increasingly desperate. Harry's just hanging on to the former royal life that he once enjoyed. William, though, gets to bestow honors and medals upon people in the gilded surroundings of Buckingham Palace. Harry, on the other hand, has to give these medals out from his back door. Does he not realize how ridiculous he looks? He's making himself look like even more of a fool. Does he realize the pathetic life that he now lives? Does he realize how bad things have gotten for him? It's just so silly. It's almost like a children's book or something. Where is he going to hand it out? Is he going to hand it out through the kitchen window next time? Maybe he'll get to stand in the chicken coop. And actually, the back door part upsets me, because basically he's saying that you're not good enough for the front door. That's going to be for trick-or-treaters and Amazon Prime deliveries. So instead, let's make a video on the back porch. What a horrible way to treat a field medic who saw a lot more action than Harry ever did. It just makes me despise Harry even more, and it makes me hope even more that he does get kicked out of the country. But it looks like we might be missing something special here. It sounds like the Carparkles held an event at their own home. Oh my God, sounds like maybe they had a little gathering in their backyard and the back porch was the stage. Well, I guess in some ways that is progress, isn't it? It looks like they're actually having some personal skin in this game. Now, somebody else pointed out that they might get reimbursed by Invictus for lawn maintenance, for the rental seating, and probably even rent. But I guess it's the first time they're actually using that estate since they moved in. They paid a lot of money for that McMansion. It's about time they got some use out of it. It sounds like this was the Living Legends of Aviation award all over again. The affair really didn't have anything to do with real active military. Instead, it had everything to do with the private organization Invictus. It wasn't even a real medal. I mean, it was a nice thing, I guess, for this Elizabeth Marks to pick up, but she really needs to question what's going on in her life if this is some type of shining moment for her. British veterans do wear medals, for sure, and I guess he was wearing them in honor of the woman he was awarding. But I would feel like an idiot wearing participation medals in front of a wounded warrior. I guess, though, he figured he's either got to wear them all or nothing at all. And as for Harry not wearing the uniform, well, there are certain situations where British military people will wear medals with formal civilian dress. The medals are all attached, and once they're mounted, you can't really separate them. At least not without great difficulty. But let's remember, Harry had to give up his honorary military titles back in 2020, so why is he wearing all those medals? 3 out of the 4 medals are Jubilee medals anyway. I mean, could he be any more of an idiot? Perhaps it was Meghan who told him he would look a lot better if he wore the medals, and when she says jump, he just asks how high. Or maybe high was a whole part of this problem. Maybe Harry was stoned out of his mind, so he felt like playing dress up. I can only assume the medals were supposed to make Harry appear official because he wasn't allowed to wear a military uniform. Still, though, I cannot understand why this event happened at their Montecito McMansion that looks like the Olive Garden. So if you ask me, this is just a video full of absurd PR from Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of lies and hypocrisy. Harry abandoned his home country and his family too, but he still relies on his connection to the royals for his own benefit. Such a dirty, dirty loser. I really underestimated how awful Harry was as a person when he was younger. I'm so disappointed in what we have discovered. Alright, next up, let's talk about the evil lurking inside of Harry. I'm going to bring you another equally interesting topic. So can you guess what has happened? Well, since Harry and Meghan left England, it seems like Harry's still worried about his family, and that's why he's been so fake expressing his concern. I mean, what I'm about to share right now is a typical example. So Harry expressed his concern about William's children, George, Charlotte, and Louis. He said, of those 3, at least one will end up, and though William and I have talked about it once or twice, and he has made it very clear to me that his kids are not my responsibility, I still feel a responsibility knowing that out of those 3 children, at least one will end up like me, the spare, and that hurts. That worries me. I mean, okay, so first of all, I think it's really funny that Harry talks about how the children are doomed because at least one of them is going to end up like him. Well, that tells me on some level he does realize what a pathetic loser he is. But anyway, who does he think he is to talk about other people's children like that when he doesn't even really know them? Harry is a Peter Pan. He never really grew up. He's basically just a man baby in a grown man's body. George, Charlotte, and Louis are doing just fine. They certainly don't need any help from their disgraced uncle Harry. Harry's now nearly 40 years old. I do hope the invisible children are under the protective custody of people who can actually raise real human beings, good human beings. Honestly, George, Charlotte, and Louis are already so much better adjusted than Harry is. And I'm guessing that Charlotte and Louis will end up developing their own professional careers. They have normal, grounded, sane parents, and their parents are going to do right by them. Harry needs to stop being such an idiot. He needs to grow up and stop acting like a child. He needs to focus on raising his own kids. Any continued obsession he has with William's children is creepy. None of them are going to end up like Harry. He doesn't need to worry about that. William and Catherine are going to make sure that they are kept far away from drugs as long as possible. And also, I mean, I hate to say it, but Diana had her own problems. She was mentally very unstable. Catherine, on the other hand, is about as solid as they come. Catherine and William are also going to make sure that each of those children marries a suitable spouse. They're going to teach their kids right from wrong, and they're going to teach their kids how to find someone who's going to be good for them. Not somebody who's just going to be suitable for the role, but one who's going to love and support their spouse in the role. And I do hope they want their kids to actually learn and be proficient in something and not just pass through schools because of the title. Harry would never have been admitted to Eton or Sandhurst or helicopter training based on his own merit. He cheated to get in. So perhaps the dum-dums in California should take a look at their own lives and try to understand what on earth is going on. Now, a family filled with love for each other and their children is not what Harry and Meghan have. They can't even raise their kids right. They hide the kids from everybody. They separate them from everyone. Harry acts like he is the only one who's got it rough, the only one who ever struggled with anything. Harry, life is not supposed to be easy. Everybody has their own problems to deal with. But most of us would take the privilege that you have over ours any day of the week. And this is why I cannot take anything he says seriously. I just don't care about his complaints. I don't care about his whining. I don't have sympathy for him. There are people with legitimate problems, and they don't get to live in the lap of luxury. They don't have servants wait on them hand and foot. Harry's just too whiny. Charlotte is technically the spare for George, and Charlotte is going to be fine. Same for Louis. Louis is also very well adjusted and well loved. He has a lot to offer the world. He has such a cute personality, and he really is the star of that family right now. So his life is not going to be as troubled as Harry's. It seems like Charlotte is the poised voice of reason, much like her mother, and George seems really happy, but also like he already feels the responsibility that is waiting for him. They love each other, though, and they're going to support each other, and they will each have a role to play in their family if they want to. They'll be able to help George as the monarch again if they want to. I found it so touching watching Charlotte help her brother at the late Queen's funeral. She was reminding him of what to do when he seemed unsure. She's going to be an amazing support system, much like Princess Anne is to Charles. But the problems with Harry do not come from the fact that he was the spare. Harry's problems have everything to do with the fact that he always felt like he was entitled to more than what he really was entitled to. I mean, he always felt rejected, but it was unnecessary. Harry, I guess, struggled a lot when he was young. He couldn't get things right, and he understood that difference. But he never really found anything meaningful for himself to get involved with, and that's why he's so sad now. It doesn't have anything to do with birth order or him being the spare. Now, in the past, Louis would have been the spare, but they changed the rules. That used to mean that sons would inherit ahead of daughters, so Charlotte is still ahead of Louis in the line of succession. But either way, it doesn't really matter. The Wales children are going to be just fine, because it seems like they are growing up right. They're learning right from wrong. Their parents are there for them. They're very emotionally healthy too. I mean, Harry just wants to believe that his issues come from him being the spare, but that's not true. His issues come from him being himself. There are plenty of second sons or daughters all over the world, and they are just fine. It's crazy to me, too, how Harry and his PR people, or just Meghan, I'm not sure who it was who came up with this idea, but they really thought that this whole narrative was going to make people feel sorry for Harry, going to make him seem better than what he really is. Really scraping the bottom of the PR barrel, aren't they? But anyway, we don't need to worry about George, Charlotte, and Louis, and Harry certainly doesn't need to worry about them. They have a wonderful, loving family, and their family actually includes both sets of grandparents. So Harry, good luck convincing your Invisikids that their lack of an extended family is because of anybody but you and that narcissistic witch you married. If Harry and Meghan really do have kids, they're going to grow up to hate their parents because they're going to learn all about the life they could have enjoyed. I mean, even though they're treated like something's wrong with them and they got to be hidden away, the Olive Garden is no Buckingham Palace. They have missed out on being included in really important historical events, and I'm sure someday they're going to be more than just a little bit bitter about that. Again, assuming the kids are even real, they took them to the US, they hid them from everybody, and it doesn't even look like they spend all that much time with them. Feels like a really depressing life without any family vacations, no friends. They could have had cousins to play with, and they could have had so many other family members too. But instead, they've got Doria, and that's it. Harry and Meghan are going to have a lot of explaining to do. And I mean, the kids are going to have access to the internet. They will be able to find out the truth pretty soon, actually. Harry and Meghan are not going to end up happy. I don't think they're happy now, and I think they're going to end up old, bitter, and alone. What is wrong with Harry talking about his own nieces and nephews like that? Obviously, he's not only jealous of William, but William's kids too. The kids have been given the best education, and they have so much love and attention from their parents too. Harry claims that he's worried about those kids, but he's just worried that if those kids succeed in school, if they succeed at being good, dutiful public servants, if they succeed in the military, for example, then they're going to make Harry look like an even bigger loser. That's what he's worried about. He's jealous of William's children. He's sick. There is every reason to believe that they're going to be successful and they are going to be accomplished in their own ways. And I'm sure Harry's going to grow up to resent his own kids when they're old enough to be a threat to him because he can't stand it if somebody's better than him. Well, Harry's not the only insane person in that household. Meghan Markle is going to be even worse. I think we're talking about mommy dearest territory here. And I think this could be the reason why King Charles wanted his second child to be born a girl. I mean, a father might be a bit different with his daughter than he is with his sons. Girls are usually less embarrassed to tell their father that he's their hero. Girls do tend to be more tolerant of their fathers, more forgiving, and tend to think they're amazing no matter what. So maybe things could have worked out a lot better if he had a sister. I think maybe there was way too much testosterone among those three, until, of course, Catherine entered the scene. They needed somebody with a high emotional IQ to take things down a peg or two. Half the things Harry whines about with William are just normal fights that siblings have. Now, a parent, usually it's the mother, can deal with these little spats very quickly. Harry is a complete joke. That's why so many people laugh at him. Does he not care about the two kids he claims to have? I mean, there's no real evidence that he even has custody of those kids. And Meghan Markle is a narcissist. She doesn't have the capacity to care about the children. If you ask me, he should look at his own behavior, and he needs to focus on his own family instead of spending his time worrying about William's children. If you ask me, Harry should stop being so complacent. I mean, first of all, giving the Soldier of the Year award to Elizabeth Marks, it was a joke because Harry himself is not impressive. He has no achievements. I mean, because Harry has a royal title, he does that thinking it's going to matter. It's dirty. Harry should really know his place, and he doesn't have any right whatsoever to worry about William's children. He should just focus on his own kids. And he also needs to stop wasting so much money. I mean, just because he's a 40-year-old child who wants to feel important. Harry should focus on himself, on his own family, and he should really manage that witch he married so that she doesn't bother the royals anymore. I hope the information I just shared is going to be useful to you, and I would love to hear more about your opinions because they are so valuable. They really do enrich our discussions, and they help us see topics from different angles. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye for now, and I'll be back to see you in new videos on the Queen's YouTube channel.